The term creepy is defined as an adjective causing an unpleasant feeling of fear or unease. Creepy, much like a lot of things, is subjective. What a person perceives as creepy might not necessarily spook the tits off of someone else. For example, anteaters. I personally think that they're adorable, but a lot of my close friends personally believe that they're ugly, strange, and downright creepy. However, there are still animals or other pieces of content that I believe we could all collectively agree are just downright unpleasant to see. Like this photo of me from early high school. Now that is creepy. So what does this boring spiel have to do with anything? Well, it's currently March, which means that it's like 7 months until Halloween, which means that today we're talking about some of the creepiest moments of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. You guys have been asking for more Adult Swim oriented content, so of course, like Santa Claus or UPS, which I did work for at one point, so this analogy works perfectly, I'm here to deliver a baby. Wait, no. I'm here to deliver, baby, not deliver a baby. Good God, it auto-corrected my script. Now, this list of creepy Aqua Teen moments that I'm going to talk about is subjective. Not only does this list feature some moments that I personally deem as creepy, but it also features moments that some of you guys on Twitter believe to be unpleasant as well. So if you disagree, either let me know in the comments or yell at these guys. Don't do that, by the way. This list barely scratches the surface of creepy moments in Aqua Teen, so if you have any more and you want me to make a part 2 to this video, leave some comments below. With all that said, let's sit back, close the blinds, turn off the lights, lock the doors, help today's video reach 1 like, and without further ado, let's get wild. The cloned TV. So to kick things off, we're going to talk about the cloned TV from Season 2, Episode 23, titled The Cloning. To keep things brief, this episode features Frylock cloning one final TV for Shake because he keeps breaking them over ridiculous reasons. Every time a TV breaks, a cloned one takes its place. You guys have seen that movie, right? However, this final TV is not normal in the slightest. Now, Shake's TV has been cloned what we can only assume is hundreds of thousands of times. And if an item is cloned more than once, the molecular structure starts to break down. So in layman's terms, if an item is cloned multiple times, hell will break loose. So since Shake's TV has been cloned so many times, this new one begins to act extra weird. It begins featuring fabricated programs starring the Aqua Teens. Each show places the cast into pretty wholesome circumstances. However, every show ends with Frylock pulling out a gun and blasting everyone. Bang, bang! The TV also shoots blood, which is pretty metal if you ask me. Kinda wish mine did that. I believe the creepiest moments from this episode in particular are when Shake, in the television, says the following line.
I'm in your house.
The other moment that I could think of is when Frylock in the television looks at MacLeod and says,
You shut up. Oh, God.
These instances give off such an eerie and unsettling vibe that would definitely make any of us, I don't know, quiver in our cowboy boots and shit the bed. And I guess if you want to count the TV shooting blood out of it, you could. I personally think that's awesome, but some of you might find it creepy. And that's totally okay. Room service. Next up on our list is the latter half of Season 7, Episode 5, titled Monster. The basic premise of this episode is that MacLeod hijacks Frylock's credit card and stays at a hotel because he refuses to sleep in his own room because he believes that there's a monster hiding in his closet. To take care of the issue, Frylock convinces Carl to pretend to be the monster in order to trick MacLeod into thinking that the problem has been solved. However, the real monster eventually comes into view, Starsky the Gerbil. However, Starsky is a demon from hell who inevitably takes over Shake's body. The episode then ends with Frylock shoving Starsky out of the window of the top floor of the hotel, killing him, or so it appears. 2 moments from this episode really freaked me out as a kid. Number 1, of course, is the jump scare right at the end of the episode where Starsky comes back to the hotel room after being pushed out of the window with Carl's decapitated head on a silver platter. That was pretty freaky, but the scene from this episode that I have deemed way creepier than that was when Frylock caught Carl in a monster suit with his bits out. Now that was pretty nuts. Juice. I have one word for you guys. Juice! Season 2, Episode 15, titled The Shaving. It's Halloween in New Jersey, and the Aqua Teens are gearing up for the spooky season with their newly discovered roommate, Willie Nelson. Not the singer, the spider who kind of resembles an onion, who's been living in the attic for ages. Together, he and Shake try to scare the tits off of Carl, but only succeed in wasting time, electricity, and a lot of blood. Like a lot. Like, this is a lot of blood. But the most alarming moment from this episode is when Frylock discovers a bunch of corpses and human remains in the attic, implying that Willie's been eating people. What's even more disturbing is when Willie rips the arms off of Carl and begins drinking his blood. Throughout this entire episode, we were meant to believe that Willie was just an innocent, non-violent spider living in the attic. However, that illusion was soon broken once Willie began drinking the forbidden Hawaiian punch. Seriously though, this is freaky. Brood Witch. Next we have Season 2, Episode 16, and personally one of my top 5 episodes of Aqua Teen, Brood Witch. This episode follows Shake as he becomes intertwined with an evil sandwich made with
bread forged in darkness from wheat harvested from Hell's half-acre and baked by Beelzebub, mayonnaise made from the evil eggs of a powerful dark chicken beaten into sauce by the hands of a one-eyed madman, cheese boiled from the rancid teat of a fanged cow, 666 separate meats from an animal which has maggots for blood, Dijon mustard, lettuce, and sun-dried tomatoes.
Yeah, I'll take everything but the sun-dried tomatoes. I can instantly recall one particular moment from this episode that made me piss myself, but SwimWiki on Twitter also mentioned a scene that made him pretty uneasy as well. Those scenes are when the Brood Witch tricked Shake into thinking that he won free brain surgery, only for him to be lobotomized so that he would finally eat the sun-dried tomatoes he picked off the sandwich, therefore sending him to the alternate dimension where Jerry can finally slay him, and when Shake tries to fight the urge to eat the Brood Witch, which is taped to the ceiling.
I got it licked! And I would like to lick that sandwich.
SwimWiki believes that scene to be weirdly unnerving, and I personally do agree. It's a very eerie sight. So is the ending when Shake finally consumes the sun-dried tomatoes. I believe that his character model in this particular scene is super freaky. But I'm not your dad. Up next is Season 11, Episode 3, The Hairy Bus, which isn't necessarily the scariest or creepiest episode on this list. Okay, maybe it's a little bit creepy. But I would say that the ending of this episode is slightly more bizarre than learning about how a man did the hibbity-dibbity with a bus, which then spawned 2 buses covered in diesel and phlegm. The episode follows Meatwad and Carl on a boys' night out, stealing, popcorn makers from underneath people's cars until they run into the hairy bus in a parking lot, which is a party bus that basically eats and dissolves people. Carl and Meatwad steal the bus's popcorn maker, which isn't really a popcorn maker. However, what they thought to be a popcorn maker turned out to be a vital organ, leaving the bus in a critical state. The bus then blackmails Carl into finding his nicer, more mature, and more responsible bus brother to ask him to donate his organ. Ultimately, Carl kills the nicer bus, Frylock blows up the hairy bus, and Meatwad blows up Carl's car. It's a really screwy episode of Aqua Teen, but the creepiest moment that stands out to me is towards the end of the episode after Meatwad blows up Carl's car, when he says the following.
I just done what you done, Dad.
To which the camera zooms out to reveal a version of Frylock made entirely out of ground beef, who responds to Meatwad with,
But I'm not your dad.
This scene only lasts, like, not even a second before the credits roll, but it's enough to make me feel uneasy. I mean, just look at Frylock's character model. His ground meat design is super disturbing. I don't really vibe with his eyes either. Even his voice is all distorted. It genuinely makes me sad for some reason. Like, I just want to put this version of Frylock out of his misery. Anyways, shout out to Mr. Mike God on Twitter for reminding me of this very horrifying scene. The ending of Freedom Cobra. Season 8, Episode 4, Freedom Cobra. The basic plot of this episode is that Shake gets a tattoo in order to get laid, but soon finds himself eating people and also Meatwad's dog. That part is pretty disturbing on its own, but what comes next is bing chilling. The episode ends with Frylock, Meatwad, and Shake at a tattoo removal clinic, only to learn that Freedom Cobra cannot be defeated by traditional lasers. So instead, the doctor gives Shake some Botox. The episode ends with Shake looking directly at the camera and uttering the lines,
On my phone line! Not no one can tell I'm sad! After I've eaten it!
The credits roll right after, but instead of the Aqua Unit Patrol Squad 1 ending theme song, we are instead gifted with an audio clip filled with monster growls, people screaming and crying in terror and agony, and Jesus Christ, this is terrifying. I mean, this episode is filled with tons of creepy moments, like Shake eating Meatwad's dog, and also showing up to Carl's house with a chainsaw. But that ending, I mean, Lord have mercy. I wouldn't be as creeped out if the ending theme was the same, but with the added audio of people screaming and crying, it really just makes this entire moment, well, creepy. Fry legs. Next, we're going to talk about what is arguably one of the freakiest moments in all of Aqua Teen. This entire episode is so freaky and creepy that I literally made a dedicated video about it. I'm talking, of course, about Season 6, Episode 8, Fry Legs. The basic plot of this episode is that Frylock becomes obsessed with a computer repair woman to the point that he starts altering his looks and his behavior in order to impress her. However, Frylock takes things a step too far when he begins stalking the repair woman and eventually vaporizing and shoving his brain into her deceased boyfriend Ray's body just to be with her. There are a lot of disturbing moments from this episode. Like, a couple of the biggest takeaways are when Frylock vaporizes Ray in the middle of the restaurant, when he leaves the computer repair woman a voicemail while messing with Ray's corpse, and even shoving his brain into Ray's remains, just to try and trick her into thinking that Ray is alive. But what ultimately makes this episode downright creepy to me is the fact that Frylock is just completely out of character. Normally, Frylock is the smart, sophisticated, and more self-aware character of the entire cast. So it's just very bizarre to see Shake and Meatwad be the most responsible people in this episode while Frylock goes off the deep end, becoming a stalker and manipulator with a thirst for blood and love. The microwave. I saved the worst moment for last. Season 5, Episode 4, or Episode 5 if you count Boston, Ridiculous opens up with what is probably the most horrible scene in all of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Basically, Carl buys a pleasure device known as the Ridiculous, which somehow turns his poop radioactive. This radioactive material begins to reanimate Meatwad's dead pets, which are buried in the backyard. Anyways, long story short, Shake fucks an ape, turns into a zombie, and the house explodes. So what's creepy about this episode besides Shake doing things with apes? Well, the episode opens with Meatwad singing a parody of the song Somewhere That's Green from the musical Little Shop of Horrors to his cat Terrence. Sometime during the song, Shake grabs Terrence and throws him into the microwave. Now don't worry, I'm not going to show you guys the clip, mainly because I can't stomach it. Every time I binge Aqua Teen, I either skip over this scene or I just completely skip Ridiculous entirely because the microwave scene is so horrific. This, on top of the exploding cannon cats during Kool movie film, are by far the creepiest, most unnerving, and most unsettling moments in all of Aqua Teen for me. Like, I could watch Ray explode 1,000 times, but the minute you throw Terrence into a microwave, that's it. I'm done. I'm calling it. Now, I understand that some of you might consider me a weak beta male for admitting that a scene involving an animated cat being put into a hotbox makes me extremely uncomfortable, and to that I say, yeah, I am. Like, I don't care, I don't want to see an animated cat get blown up. I just like animals too much, real or fake. Like, I cried when Riley got hurt in Call of Duty Ghosts. When you kill an animal in any piece of media, I'm going to be upset. That doesn't mean that I hate the episode though, like it's a good episode. It's definitely not one of my favorites, but it's still good. But yeah, that microwave scene, it's the worst. In my personal opinion, it is the creepiest moment ever. It's horrible. Some of you will disagree with me, some of you will agree with me, and that's totally okay. And there we have it, 8 creepy moments from Aqua Teen Hunger Force that'll make you say, oh god, why? Now, like I said previously, we just barely scratched the surface in terms of creepy moments in Aqua Teen. So if you guys would like me to make a part 2 and you have any other creepy moments that you would like me to talk about, let me know in the comments below. And hey, while you're in the comments, let me know what other episodes of Aqua Teen or other shows you guys want me to talk about for future videos. But besides that, if you guys enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new around here. Click the bell icon to be notified, and whenever I upload a brand new video, follow me on all of my social links, and join my Discord server. The links are in the bio below. Have a creepy day, everyone, but please remember that Halloween is like 7 months away, so you better start getting your decorations out.